Hey everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. So happy to have you here today, and before we get started, be sure that you're following me over on Instagram. Right here is my username. I post all sorts of fun tips and tricks over there. Now in today's video, we're going to be making a porch sign using some Teckwrap chrome vinyl. This stuff is so pretty, it's so shiny, and you can save 10% anytime you shop using code Corinne10. Now we're going to go over how to design the entire thing, how to fit it onto the mat in the best way without wasting a lot of vinyl, because as we know, crafting can be expensive, but this is a great thing that you can do to save vinyl, so I'm going to show you a little tip, trick, and hack for that. So let's go ahead and get started.
Whatever we would do, we do it just for fun.
We're going to make our sign over in Cricut Design Space, and the first thing that I'm going to do is create the template for our porch sign. So I've measured my sign, and I know that it's about 9.5 wide and about 4 feet tall. So the first thing I do is I open up a square, and I'm going to go up to the top, and I'm going to unlock that. So wide, it's going to be 9.5 inches, and then high, it's going to be 48 inches. Now, we're not going to be able to see this real well right now because it is so zoomed in. So I'm going to zoom out a bit so that I can really see the whole template that I'm using for my porch sign. Now we're going to add some text and some fun designs to this in order to make a really, really cute 4th of July little sign here. So what we'll do is we're going to choose some text. So I know I want to have the words happy, and I'm going to use 4th of July, but I know for a fact I want this word happy to be a different text than the rest of my sign. Now, there's a couple ways that you can choose your text, and of course, one way is to just scroll through your Cricut Design Space, go to your system fonts, look at anything you have bookmarked, but if you want a little easier way to look at all the fonts that you have on your computer, let me show you the way that I do it. There's a website called wordmark.it, and for this, you can type in your text, whatever you want it to say. Click this little arrow here, and it's going to bring up all of the fonts on your computer. Now, you might need to add an extension to your browser if you are using this for the first time. It's totally safe. Use it all the time. Super easy to work with. Now, we can go ahead and kind of look through all of our fonts, and if you find things that you like, what you can do is click on them to compare them with other fonts. So I'm going to scroll through and just see if there's anything that I'm really liking for the word happy, anything that really stands out in a way that might go with the theme or the look that we're going for. Now that I've scrolled through all my fonts, and actually I'm going to select that one too. You select ones you like. What you can do is up in the upper right hand side, you'll see where it says filter selected fonts. If you click that, it's going to bring up all the fonts that you liked, and you can kind of go from here and compare them. Like this one's hard to read, so I'm going to get rid of that one because I just don't like it. I don't love that one, so you can start narrowing it down to some fonts that are maybe a little bit more to what you're looking for. Now, I don't know if you guys have this happen sometimes. You're staring at the word for so long that it looks like it's misspelled. That's pretty much how I'm feeling about the word happy right now. So I'm just kind of weeding out any that I don't really love. I think I'm going to get rid of this outlined version. And I think I'm going to get rid of this one. Hello's cute, but it's not quite what I'm going for. I want something a little more kind of between these three. I like this Organic Fridays one. I think that one's really cute, but it is a little bit thin, even in the larger size that we're going to do. But I think we'll kind of go between Lovely Mood, Organic Fridays, and 21. So let's go ahead over to Design Space and take a look. So over in Design Space, you can easily go into your system fonts and search for the font that you know the name of. So one of the options was Lovely Mood Script, and I'll link these three that we're kind of going between down below if I can find them all. Now I want to look at them together on our board, so I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to change the font to the next one. So this one we're going to do is the Organic Fridays, and that's just the regular Organic Fridays. So we'll select that, and then you just duplicate it one more time, and we'll do our next font. And that font is 21, so I'm just going to search the first couple of letters. And you don't have to search the whole font name. You can just search the first few letters, and it will bring it up. Now I'm going to go ahead and size these all to 9 inches wide because I don't think I want to go too wide on it. But this will really help me compare them and just see what I think, see how tall each of them is, because that's a big consideration for me as well. So this one's about 4 inches tall. This one's about almost 5 inches tall. And then this one's about 4.5. So we've got a pretty good spread of sizes. Now I think I'm going to do these in blue. So I'm just going to change the color really quick. Again, this is all just sort of about visualization for me. So I'm just changing the color. Now we're going to leave these because we want to put in the 4th of July. So I want to find a font that I'm going to like the word July in, and I'm going to use the number 4 for it as well. So I'm going to go back over to Wordmark and take a look at some more fonts. If you want to change what your font says, just simply go over here, and I'm just going to do 4th July. I don't need to see the of because it's all going to be the same, but I want to see what it's going to look like. Now it's going to show me the 3 fonts I already have chosen, but all I have to do is click show all fonts and it will show everything that we have. Now we can kind of look through and see if there's any that we really like the look of. And the reason I put the 4 in, because some fonts don't have numbers. So keep that in mind when you're looking. If you're going to be using a number, be sure to look and see if that number is available for the font you want to use. Now I want more of a sans font, so I'm going to click a couple that I like, and then we'll take a look at them compared to the other designs. All right, I've chosen a few, so I'm going to go ahead and filter those selected fonts, and I've got 4 to choose from here. So I think the one that I'm going to get rid of first is this Birthday Balloons. I can't find that font anymore anyways, so we'll just get rid of that. So we have Awesome Everyday Caps, the CLN Tingle Tangle, which is actually a Christmas font, but I like the just plain one, and then Enjoy Summer. So let's go ahead and we'll type out the word July going down in Design Space so we can look at it in these different fonts. Now over in Design Space, open up a text, and what I'm going to do is I'm first going to use all capitals, but I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so that we can see it. If it'll let me, it's not going to. So let me type in the word. So what I'm going to do is type in each letter and then just hit enter because I want it to be a bigger like design, and I want it to be up and down. Now I'm going to make this smaller so we can see it. These are really spaced out, so that's partially why they look a little funny, but we'll kind of play with it as we look at the different script options. The first font we want to look at is called Awesome Everyday something. So I'm just going to look up the word awesome, and it should be right here. And we'll do that same thing where we're going to just duplicate it and choose the next font. That way we can really look at our 3 font options and see what we like. The next one is that Tingle Tangle one. So I'm going to look up Tingle. Whoops, it helps if you just get rid of the first one. Look up Tingle. And like I said, that one's a Christmas font, but there's just a plain one that works really, really well. And you can see these ones are pretty similar in like kind of the jauntiness of them. But this one's a little thicker. So we'll just take a look, see what we like. And then the last one is Enjoy Summer. So we'll go ahead and grab that one. And we'll just go with, I don't know why it insists on not deleting what I'm typing. And then we'll select that one. So now from here, we're going to just sort of play around and see kind of what we like. I do like this a lot, and I think it's pretty cute. But I don't know if it's going to quite go with what I want to do, but I'm going to make it red really quick. I am going to play with the letters of these before, like the colors of these before we actually cut, but this will just help us get an idea of what kind of it's going to look like together. Now, I really like this with this, and I think that is absolutely adorable. And honestly, I don't know if I need to look any further. That's kind of the look I was going for. Let's do it. Let's go with it. Let's quit questioning it and just do it. That's some of the things that with crafting, you need to be really decisive. So now what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and expand these a bit, just so I can kind of get a better idea of how big I can make them. I can make them pretty big. So that's good. So I like that. I think that looks pretty cute. I might make these a little closer together, but like I said, I am going to change the colors of them, but this is just for our visualization. I'm going to try a -5 spacing, and that was way too much. So let's try like a -2 spacing. That's better. Okay, we'll do a -2 spacing because I want to put something down here in the bottom. And I want to do like a little firecracker. So I'm going to use Cricut Design Space and see if I can find anything for that. So I'm just going to look up for the word firework and just see if there's anything in here that will work for what we want to do. And actually, these are pretty cute. But we'll go ahead and kind of scroll through and just see if there's anything that is what we're looking for. I've chosen a couple and I'm going to click add to canvas, and I found one that I thought might actually work really well for kind of what we want to do with the little fourth, and it might look really cute. So I've got a couple of options. I've got this one that I thought might be perfect if we move July down and have July kind of at the bottom of our design. We might need to make this a little smaller, and I might want to change the fourth out for the correct font. But I think this one could be pretty cute like that. It says Happy 4th, and then we could just add of right here as well. So that might be an option. So there's one kind of idea. We also have a couple other rockets. The more I see this one, the more I don't really like it. So I'm going to delete it. Then I have this one, which maybe. So let me move this over. And a lot of this when you're designing is sort of just moving things and seeing what you like and seeing if that's the style you want to go for, if that's the way you want it to look. I don't think I like that, even if I change the colors. Not quite what I'm going for. I'm really sort of leaning towards this one. And then we have these three little ones, but again, just not quite what I want, I don't think. And I don't love that. I think we're going to do that fourth, which I think will look really cute. And then I think we'll change out a few things. So what I'm going to do here is let me grab this and I'm going to move it over. All right, that looks pretty good. Now with this, we can redesign it however we want. Now I know I'm going to be doing my board in a white. I'm going to use a white chalk paint on it. So I'm going to change the board to white. But to help me visualize it, I'm going to change the color of my blank canvas to like a medium gray. And that really helps you see what you're looking at. It just really makes everything stand out so much better. So now I can kind of play around with this and see how things look if I move things, if I remove things, whatever I want to do. Now what I want to do is, like I said, I want to get rid of the fourth that's on here. I just don't think it matches well enough, and we can add our own text. So in order to do that with this design, I will need to use the contouring option. I'm going to select firework and I'm going to click contour, and then all I need to do is get rid of the 4. I'm going to do the same thing over here with the red section and get rid of the TH, which I just simply click on them and remove them. Then all I need to do is with the black offset is also get rid of the 4 and the TH for the offset. Simple as that, they're gone, and now we can add our own text. So I'm just going to add the 4. And it's really tiny because it's in the little tiny section because we've zoomed out so far. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so I can like move with the 4. And that's cute. And then we're going to just then we're going to just go ahead and duplicate that 4 because we're just going to use the same text and just change it to TH. And then we can kind of size that. I think that looks pretty cute. We could do it up here with it if we wanted to. It's really up to us and the way we want this to look, but I think I like it like that because we still need the word of. So again, I'm just going to duplicate the TH, change it to of, and then I'm going to move that down so that we can just put that in and make that a little bigger. And I think that looks pretty good. I like it. Okay, so now because this has an offset, we could definitely add an offset to our design if we want to. It's up to us and how we want it to look, but you can kind of play with it, see what you think, see if you want to change colors or anything like that. So I'm going to see what this looks in red, and then I think what I want to do is I'm going to go to color sync because I want all of our blues to be the same and all of our reds to be the same. So all I'm doing is pulling the colors that are a different shade and just dragging and dropping them into the same color we already have on here. It's just going to work a lot better that way. I think it looks pretty good. So I've made kind of an executive decision on my design. As much as I do like the offset on some of the letters, I think I'm going to just get rid of the offset completely and not use it, including on our section with the little firework. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to kind of change that so that it looks the way we want it to. So I'm just going in and deleting all the offsets Now, with the firework, I'm going to go to color sync, and this section that's white on the firework, I'm going to change it over to that same blue, and I think that looks really cute, so we're going to go ahead and stick with that. Now, I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. I think it looks really, really, really cute, and I think we're good to go as far as cutting is concerned. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to show you right here. The July is too big. We only have 11.5 by 23.5 that we can work with. But I'm going to show you a quick little trick. The first thing I'm going to do is hide this square because we can't cut it. We don't need it anyways. So we're just going to hide that square. Now I'm going to move this July over, and you can see that it's pretty big. So I'm going to do two things to this. First thing I'm going to do is duplicate it. Now, in order to use the contour option with text, you do need to weld it. So I'm going to go to combine, and I'm going to weld. The next thing I'm going to do is select it and choose contour. Now you can do this a lot of different ways, but this is just the way I'm showing you. There's one option here, but I'll show you the other one in just a second. So I'm going to get rid of the J and the U and then just have the LY, which will fit on. It's going to be a larger mat, but that's okay. We have the bigger mat to work with. Now, if you want to do it a different way, you can. It's super easy. All you need to do is go to advanced, and you can ungroup to letters or to lines. It doesn't matter in this one. I'm going to just go ahead and ungroup to letters. I'm going to get rid of the L and the Y, so you can just delete those. But what you want to make sure that you do is select the J and the U, and you either use attach or weld, because then they'll be all one piece. It's a little bit easier to line up 2 sets of letters rather than trying to line up 4 letters. At least it is for me. Now everything looks like it's going to fit fine on our mats, so we can just click make it, and I'll show you what our mats look like because this is super simple to do. It's really fun. So you'll see here that you've got this kind of big mat, but I think we might be able to actually fit the LY on here as well. So you can see our LY is on a completely separate mat. Right click on these 3 dots and click move object. Then select your first red mat and click confirm. You can move these around and see if you can get things to fit the way they need to in order to save yourself a lot of vinyl. You'll notice that I can move that 4th around, and I can move these individually as well. So now you've just got one little section that you won't use on one 12 by 24 inch mat. So you're going to save yourself a little bit of vinyl. Now we also have this one, which again, it's going to waste a ton of vinyl. So I'm just going to move some stars up into this section. I'm going to move the of over, and then see, we should be able to fit happy on one mat. So I'm going to move that object, click on that, choose the mat, and then you can kind of find the happy right here. And you might need to turn it, you might need to angle it, but you should be able to fit that onto that mat. You can see how well that fits when you do it that way. It's just a quick little trick in order to save yourself a lot of vinyl. Now you'll see that we only have to cut 2 mats, 1 blue, 1 red, and we're good to go. So let's go over to the Cricut and get these cut out. For this project, we're going to be using Teckwrap's chrome vinyl. I got chrome in red and chrome in blue. Now, one thing that I want you to note is that most Teckwrap vinyl does have a clear protective layer on it that you will want to peel off. And it's going to be a little hard to see, like you're not going to be able to really tell it's on there, but you'll see that when I peel that back that there's a clear protective coating. So you want to make sure you remove that before you cut. I'm going to go ahead and get this one onto our mat. This is a really easy process, and I like to put it on the mat before I take off the plastic. I just find that a little easier for me. And I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And don't worry, there may be a little adhesive. You see that kind of adhesive from the sticker? That's fine because it's on the clear protective layer. That's one reason I really like the layer on there. It helps protect it from a lot of stuff like that. So we're using the long 12 by 24 mat. I'm going to go ahead and take off the plastic coating. Now this is a brand new, pretty sticky mat. I've only used it maybe twice. So you can see how sticky it is just pulling off the plastic. Typically, to load my vinyl, I like to take my mat and I slide it under my machine. And it doesn't matter which way it goes. You have a top, you have a bottom, they're the same to the machine. I'm gonna go ahead and open my Cricut. You won't see totally all the Cricut, but you'll see the door. And I like to use the door as a helper for putting my vinyl on. Now, I will point out too, the vinyl that I ordered did come with another sheet. So I do have this little bonus sheet in here. So this is a fun one. I love the color. That's one thing, again, too, sometimes every once in a while you'll get like a bonus sheet that you didn't know existed. So that's a really fun one. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do this. So I've got my roll, which comes on a cardboard tube, which I just throw the tube out, I don't keep it. I'm gonna lay my vinyl down onto my mat. So this is a really easy way so that you can line it up pretty evenly without having to take the whole roll and try to roll it out. And then I pull my mat out from under my machine and then just lay the vinyl down. Now this is not going to take an entire 12 by 24 roll. I think we only go to like 18 or 19 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna peel back the plastic coating to about where I think I need to. And checking, I was completely wrong. It is the full 24 inches. So let me close the door so you guys can see. I'm gonna pull this back and I'm gonna pull it all the way to the end of our mat, and I'm just gonna leave it attached because I'm gonna cut this off, and then if there's a little bit exposed that doesn't have the plastic still on it, that's totally fine. Let me zoom you guys out so we can get ready to cut this. We're ready to load, and I do cut this on just the vinyl setting. So you see that I have the roll kind of hanging off the back here. I'm gonna hold on to that while this cuts just because it's super long, and I'm gonna go ahead and load this. And you can use clips to clip this to the bottom of your roll or your like mat if you want to, but when it's taking up the whole mat, I don't like to do that. I like to just hang on to it or just let it hang off the back of my machine, whatever works. But it's gonna go ahead and measure our mat and then cut everything out. I do want to do just a check to make sure that it cut through. So I'm just going to take the middle of the 4 and see if I can weed that. And if it weeds really well, which it did, I think we're good to go. For this one, we're just using a 12 by 12 mat. And again, we're going to be using the chrome blue. I like to load the mat the same way, and then I will trim this one off after I put it on the mat. I just find that a little bit easier when I'm doing 12 by 12. You absolutely could just leave it on the roll as well, but honestly, I think I prefer to just trim it while it's still like on the mat, and then we'll take off that plastic coating. Like I said, it's really up to you and how you want to do it. You don't have to trim it off. You can leave it in a roll, but I like to give it a little trim. And then I'm gonna go ahead and peel off that plastic coating. You can really see that plastic coating right here where the sticker was. So I'll make it kind of a bigger spot for you so you can see it, but you can see that plastic coating. So if you're having trouble getting that coating to come up, just take your pin pen and very gently get under the coating and then just take it off. All right, we're gonna go ahead and cut the blue out, and then I'll get everything weeded. Show you how to remove this from your mat a little bit easier, just so you can see how I do it. This one, I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over. You're gonna flip it so that the mat is upside down, and then you wanna roll your mat away from the vinyl, just like this. Very, very easy, super duper simple, and you can see how easy that comes off. Now this is a little curled just because it comes in a roll, but it will work perfectly. We are ready to go. So I've got my board sideways because I can't fit it into the frame completely anyways. I've got all of our parts that are ready to be transferred over. So we're pretty much ready to go. Now, one thing is I am going to cut this section apart here because it is, you know, not exactly going to lay like this, obviously. We've got different pieces in different places. So the happy is obviously the very top of our board, and that's probably the first thing that we will lay down. And then I know that little arrow here, so this is our little rocket. He's a separate part. The of and all that are separate parts. Same with over here. The 4th is definitely not going to sit right where that is. So we'll just kind of cut some things apart to get ready to start placing our designs. Now you can really kind of start wherever you want, whatever works best for you. But for me, I'm gonna start at the very top. So I am going to slide my board down. Let me just move a few things out of the way. I'm gonna slide my board down so that you can see the top of it. I just gotta move a couple things and then. So this will be where happy goes. So I think we're gonna go ahead and start with that since we know that this is the top of the board. Now, when working with a vinyl like this, I highly recommend having a squeegee that's like this, that has some sort of felt or fabric, because when we go to burnish it after we take the transfer tape off, because I will want to redo it a little bit, you want something that isn't going to scratch your vinyl. This side's great for using when you have your transfer tape on, but once it's off, you want to make sure that you're using this softer side, because that is going to make sure that you don't scratch or damage that vinyl. It's really shiny, really pretty, so you don't want to add any scratches to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and, just like I do all my other things, laying this down onto my transfer tape. I'm gonna burnish it first before I cut this off, just because it's a little easier. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off, and we can probably reuse this piece of transfer tape a couple times before we're done with it. So again, I just wanna burnish it. I like to just give it a good burnish. And then I'm gonna go ahead and peel off the backing. Now with this vinyl, it does love to stick to transfer tape. It's really, really good about sticking, but you do still want to take your time and go slow just in case you don't have, you know, everything stuck. Now with this, I'm going to go ahead, and this is pretty big for our board, which is how I wanted it. So I just want to make sure the whole design is on the board, and I want to make sure it's fairly straight. And it's gonna sit pretty close to the top of our board. And then I'm gonna burnish it down. Now, like I said, with this side, it really doesn't matter which side you use. You can use this side or you can use this side while your transfer tape is on. Whatever's more comfortable for you. And I just wanna make sure that I really burnish this down just to make sure that it sticks. I did sand the board a long time ago when I got it, and that's something important to keep in mind. If your board's a little bit rough, you may wanna sand it. So then all I'm gonna do is peel off the transfer tape. Now I wanna show this to you. See how it I had it sticking and then I wasn't peeling the transfer tape correctly? So if that happens, it's okay. It's not a big deal. Just go ahead, burnish that back down. And with projects like this, you wanna really take your time with your transfer tape. So you wanna really, instead of pulling it like how I was, like way up here, you want to fold it really flat back and keep your hand right here along the fold so that as you're peeling, you're not pulling up, you're actually just folding over. That's gonna help your vinyl stick. And it'll stick fine to the surface, but sometimes it just takes it a second to realize that that's where it wants to be. So just take your time, and like I said, you can see how I'm using my hand and rolling that transfer tape off and just really flat against the edge. And then I'm doing it in this kind of a back and forth motion. That can help a lot too, especially when working with a surface that transfer tape and vinyl just don't want to be friends with. Though this wood should be fine. But these are just some little tips and tricks that you can use if you're having a little bit of a difficulty. So there is the cute little happy. It's so shiny. I wish you guys could see that. I think it's so darn cute. Now I've pulled up a picture of it on my phone just so I can see it a little bit better, because I didn't totally remember how I had this all laid out. But I think I've got it pretty figured out now. So this is our red section, obviously. And I think this will be the easiest section to start with for the next part that we need to do, because I'm kind of working my way down my design. So again, I am gonna get new transfer tape because I did really have to mess with that one quite a bit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the transfer tape out, and I'm gonna lay this down, and the stars are lined up exactly where they should be, so I don't wanna mess with that. And then, because I've got a little extra over here, I'm gonna go ahead and lay this one down, and then the fourth will fit as well. So we're just gonna kind of lay all of those down. The reason I'm doing that is because I can save a bit of space on my transfer tape. I already have to transfer tape them anyways, so we'll just kind of roll them all together and we'll cut them apart in just a moment. So again, furnishing, always important when doing this. You don't want to skip this step. It's super important that your vinyl sticks to your transfer tape really well. And that was my fault. I caught the edge, but I think it's okay. I don't think it did anything. Nope, we're good. Okay, the transfer tape just came off, but it's fine. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and cut these apart. And it's okay if you leave some backing from another project on there or like another piece. No big deal. Now, like I said, I have my picture pulled up so I can kind of get an idea of where this lines up. So the little tip of the arrow, or the rocket, if you will, a little firework, is going to line up with the first P in happy. So this is pretty simple. You see how easy that comes off the backing? This backing is more of a plastic backing than a lot of other products. So now I'm gonna lay this guy down. Like I said, he kind of lines up with that first P. So we'll just, and it doesn't have to be exact. You can really kind of play with it, figure out where it really want it to sit. You know, I don't need it to be perfect every single time. It's fine, but you do want to make sure that you're burnishing this down really, really well. Especially with these super thin lines, you want to make sure you're getting really over those. And then, like always, we're going to roll that transfer tape right off. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this all finished because I don't think you need to see me like lay out every single piece. It's all done in the same way. And because this is a vinyl that you want to be a little more gentle with, I'm just going to do the same thing every time, where I'm just going to roll this transfer tape off really nice and slow. So I'm going to go ahead and get this finished and show you what it looks like. So now we have sort of an executive decision to make. We can either lay the stars out all around it like we had originally planned, or I do have a little space at the bottom, but I think I'm gonna leave that little space at the bottom plain because I just think it'll work a little bit better that way. So what I'm gonna do, typical, just grab some transfer tape. Honestly, with these, we probably don't even need transfer tape because they're just a single like sheet little piece. So let's do it without, it's fine. So you can kind of just, again, figure out where you want to put them. Doesn't really matter. It's up to you. This is your design. You do it how you want to do it. Use the fonts you want to use. Use the designs you want to use. That's one of the great things about crafting is it's all up to you and how you want it to look. So I think this is how I want mine to look. Put one more star down. Like I said, you don't have to use transfer tape for these because they're just single pieces, and then you do want to go over them with the squeegee just to make sure that they're held down, and you want to be careful on those edges of the stars. I will say try to go out from the middle, that way you're not kind of picking up this edge because you could lift that. As you saw, I totally did because I wasn't doing it the right way. And then I'm going to put this one down. Now our sign is all done. Now you will want to let this cure for about 24 to 48 hours inside before you place it outside. And I'm going to show you what the whole thing looks like because I know all you can really see is just a little bit of it at a time. So I'm going to get this all set up after I let this cure and show you what it looks like. Look how cute this came out. It's so adorable. I'm going to get you guys up close so that you can really get a good look at it and see that shine. So pretty. Now, one thing that I will note is that you're going to see some of the wood's texture in the design, and I did lose a little piece of red, but I think it's still really cute. That little bit of texture really does help kind of show off the shine of the product. This is, again, the Teckwrap Chrome Permanent Vinyl, and I just think this sign came out so cute, and it was really easy to design, and I had fun doing it. If you guys have any questions about this or any of the other things that we do here on the channel, by all means, let me know in those comments down below. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting!